Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Page of Swords podcast. This is episode 31 with Gabby, who is a wellness competitor, and you had just competed in 2020, correct? Was that
Yes.
your first show?
I did a show in 2019
Okay.
doing Bikini at
Okay.
the Think Tank in Wheeling. It didn't go so well.
No? Why? What happened?
I'm just not a bikini competitor. It was my first time competing, and I had a different coach at the time. I just hired someone I knew from college who really didn't have any experience coaching, just kind of competed himself. But I kind of took the cheap way out. I didn't know if it was something I wanted to do long term or not. So I kind of just did it the cheapest way possible. And I definitely learned my lessons for sure. I just wasn't lean enough. Yeah, I wasn't lean enough. And also I am really lower body dominant. So bikini just wasn't for me. And my placing and the judges' feedback definitely were kind of reiterated that. So yeah.
Now, was wellness announced yet at that time, or were they kind of okay? I was gonna say, did they even like push you to do that?
No, it was in November of 2019. So the judges basically said, hey, there's this new category. I hadn't even heard of it at this point. Maybe try that. But other than that, like, honestly, I didn't even know if I wanted to compete again after that. So I wasn't sure. I was kind of let down. And then once I figured out what wellness was, I kind of did the research on it. I was like, hell yeah, like, I think this is something I could do. Oh, right. Someone was calling me. Can you see me? I'm sorry.
Okay, no, you're good. I just thought maybe it was a connection thing. No, you're good. So yeah, and that's a huge lesson to learn, I feel like, because I think that does happen. I know I've been there where you do end up picking the cheap coach, and like it's good to, when you're starting out. I mean, I'm sure you're still in school and everything, or you were maybe.
Yeah, at the time I had just graduated at the time.
Yeah. So like that kind of stuff's in your mind, and you want to make sure that you really want to continue with this before you invest too much. So like, I totally understand that, and that, it did teach you. So you ended up leaving that coach then?
Yes. Right after that, he actually, I'm not going to say names or anything, but that coach actually kind of abandoned me like 3 weeks out. Like he wasn't at my show. I had no, like, honestly, as far as like peak week goes, I didn't even know that existed until my most recent show, like until I started working with Catherine and I did my, the Julie Palmer show. Honestly, that was like in my mind, that was my first competition, because that was my first time I actually got the full experience of having a knowledgeable coach who was there for me, being like with this coach before. I honestly didn't even know, like, as a female, I didn't know I had to shave before getting a spray tan. Like, there was just so many little things that I didn't know going into that show that like was a huge eye opener for me. And I was like, wow, I am severely underprepared for this. So,
I know that I'm laughing because it's just that, like, I feel like a lot of us have been there, and it's hard because you had a coach and they just didn't give you the proper preparedness or everything. So like it is difficult because it's like, who's going to tell you these things, right?
Yeah. I didn't know I needed an NPC card. I didn't know that was a thing until I showed up at the show, and they were like, oh, I mean, you can buy them at the show, but they're like a little more expensive, I think, there. And I just wasn't prepared to spend that extra like $130 or something at that time. And I was just like, what the hell? Like, and plus it was November. So it wasn't like I could use it after that. Like, it was one show. I bought that NPC card for one show, and then it was invalid after that. So I was like, okay, cool.
I think you're right. You're right. So yeah, at the end of the year, and you're just kind of like throwing that out.
I was like, oh, so I can't, okay.
So I'm on the NPC website, like looking for like your pictures and stuff. So at that Think Pink show, what color was your bikini suit?
Okay, so funny story. Every competition I've done, the NPC website has spelled my last name wrong. So you cannot find all of my things. Like, if you search my name, Gabrielle Santinoceto, the only pictures I think you're gonna see are the Ohio State show. Yeah, and maybe, and then if you change one of the letters in my name, then you can find my Julie Palmer Show. And then if you change another letter in my name, you can find the Think Pink Show. So honestly, in order to find me, you have to go. I don't even remember what my name's under. It's like Santinoceto or something. You have to go to like the Think Pink part of it. You have to search for that specific show in 2019, and then it'll show the pictures. And I was in the bikini. I think I got 4th place in the bikini category, and like not in true novice, but like, yeah. It's so you can't find all of my pictures if you search for my name.
I actually was at that show, and I think I vaguely remember a little bit. Was your tan or your suit like a reddish color?
It was like purple, like deep purple.
But
on stage it looks kind of red.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like that's probably, I don't know how you felt about that suit, but did it end up like kind of blending in with the background or with the tan?
Yep. It like I blended right into the background, and my tan wasn't that good for that show. I know like my last 2 shows I've used Pro Tan, and honestly I don't remember what tan I used for that show, but it wasn't Pro Tan, I'll tell you that. Mm-hmm. But again, like I didn't know anything about it, so I didn't know any different. I thought I just kind of looked normal, but looking back at the pictures, yeah, my tan was super like yellowish, orangish kind of. So it definitely didn't match with my skin tone, but I just spilled my coffee on myself. That was cool. I did end up reusing that suit though for the Julie Palmer show. My that suit was made by BB Customs, and I just picked out. Yeah, I love her. I picked out those colors. That wasn't like that was completely me. And I didn't know any better. And I ended up using SS Customs since I'm always in Columbus because that's where my coach is, and that's who she uses. And for my second show, for the Julie Palmer show, I had her redo Rebecca's suit to make it into a wellness suit, so it was the same top. And then she bought the same materials to kind of make me a wellness bottom that matched the top, because I just didn't have the money to do a full new suit at that time. So I did like a half hybrid thing. Yeah. And for that show, I also did figure. So I had to buy another suit on top of it. So I really didn't want to buy 2 completely new suits. So I did the blue suit for figure, then the purple suit for wellness. And then I ended up having her SS Customs remake the blue one because I thought that looked a lot better on stage. And then for the Ohio State show, I made the figure suit into a wellness suit. And now I have a blue wellness suit.
I was gonna say, I see the Julie or the Ohio State was a blue one. So
and that was just a figure suit.
Yeah, but that's okay because like that's the difference. I think sometimes the like the connectors and stuff, like I've seen it where it's kind of both, and obviously the top works. I see that some wellness girls have like the really like the like big cup shaped ones,
like the molded cups.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that or not. I don't know about you.
So I haven't decided yet. I've never seen it on myself, but most of the girls who I've seen have molded cups either have naturally bigger chest, or they have like implants, so they can fill those out. But like when I'm lean like that, I pretty much lose everything. So to have that molded cup, I feel like it would just be a big gap when I get really close to the show. So I don't know if I'm willing to try that. Or like the molded cups that they're doing. Like the molded cups that they're doing are like a different style. Like the molded cups I've seen, I'm trying to like explain the difference, but it's more like a bikini top, just like a little more molded. But the ones that I know you're talking about that like they like come from like Brazil, like the ones that they all wear. Yeah, I don't see myself ever wearing one like that. Yeah, they look like actual Victoria's Secret bras. Like where I know what you're talking about, because the other ones are like, it does look like a bikini girl top. You know, and like, I don't know, like I've seen some shows in the amateur divisions most of the time where you can tell, like, I think that they're usually more of a bikini look. Like it looked maybe like you could use them for both, but I'm not really sure if there's a huge difference between the two to be able to tell, because I've kind of seen it across the board. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, whatever fits on your body best and whatever you think is going to make you look best. I don't judge. I just know that for me, I wouldn't be able to fill something like that out. So, I mean, I'm just making smart decisions. And I know Kayla with SS Custom Suit would never let me do that. So for sure. She'd be like, no.
So your experience with wellness then last year, did you, I mean, overall, were you like happy? I mean, obviously, congratulations because you won the
Thank you.
show, but you know, you're like the first, you're now the first Ohio wellness winner, correct?
Yes, I was. It was pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's a huge, awesome title. So like, how was the show?
Well, I did the Julie Palmer show first it was
Okay.
my first experience in wellness. That was like the show I was always aiming for at first.
Mm-hmm.
Just to kind of get my feet wet with it. And I really didn't have a second show in mind. Like last year was basically my first real year of competing. And I had never done a back-to-back show, or I've never done anything like that. So basically I competed all for this show, and I kind of put all my eggs in that basket, the
Mm-hmm.
Julie Palmer show, not really thinking I was going to go forward. Literally the day of the show, of the Julie Palmer show, I was walking with one of my friends after prejudging outside, and we were just walking around, kind of getting like loosen up a little bit. We went to go get coffee or something, and he was doing that show, and he was prepping for the Ohio State. And I was like, well, how far away is that? He goes 6 weeks, and I was like, 6 more weeks of this? Like I was just in prep for 6 months, like, or because of COVID, it kept getting moved. So I think in total I was in prep for 8 months. But like, I was like, imagining another 6 weeks of like the dieting and staying that lean. I was like, I don't know if I could do that. Like mentally, I didn't know if I could because of the shutdowns and not having a gym or whatever. So I was like, I don't know. And then after I got second place overall at Julie Palmer, and I was like, oh, F this. Like, I was like, I can get first place. Like, I can do that. Because I was just like lit my spark. And after that show, after the finals, I was like, I'm doing it. Me and my coach like decided, we're like, yep, we're prepping. I said, give me like 2 days off. I was like, I'm going to eat tonight. I'm going to eat tomorrow. I'm going to go to the zoo. Like I was like, let me just have 2 days. And then after that, I was like, we're going to get back to it. But I said, I need a little mental break. And then we went right back to it after. Yeah, I don't know. Overall, like my experience with wellness was amazing. I did figure in wellness for Julie Palmer because I did throw discus and shot put like most of my life. So I have a little bit more of a developed upper body than like for bikini. So I didn't really know where I would fall as far as like starting out. Like I know in every division you have to grow, but you kind of have to make your decision. Like they're very different looks. So for figure, in my opinion, figure definitely has a leaner lower body for sure. So like for me to prep for figure and wellness in the same show, the look was just so different. And I could tell like against me with the other figure girls, I just wasn't lean enough lower body. My glutes were just really full, and they're just not that full and big like on the figure girls at that show. So I was like, I definitely stood out in that aspect. I was just bigger lower body. But after that show, I just loved the look of wellness, the other girls, and meeting the other girls. It just kind of fell in love with that division. And then for going forward, I was like, you know what? I'm going to stick with wellness, and kind of that's where I'm going to stick, and I'm going to grow with this one instead of trying to like, that helped me make my decision on where I felt like I could genetically thrive in, instead of like forcing myself into a division that I didn't think it would go against my like natural body type, you know?
For sure. So yeah, you said you played shot put and stuff in school. I was going to say, I think sometimes I hear girls do like soccer or anything, if you've done anything like that. Or
I did volleyball, basketball, and track.
Okay. So
and then I went to college for track.
Okay. Yeah. So definitely got those like legs, and I could see, cause now you can really say that you tried all the like those 3 divisions, and that you can say that you had that experience, and that's fine, because you know, that's what's best, getting some feedback. But obviously
absolutely,
you doing really, really well with wellness is definitely like, it's your home now.
Yes, I actually found the judges. This is like super stalkerish, but after the show, I was like, let's go out, like let's party. And sadly, most of the bars were shut down still at this time, so there was no party. They closed at 10. So like after finals, it's rearing 10 o'clock. So I got all dressed up to go out, and I'm not kidding. We went to the top floor of the host hotel, had a bar, and I'm thinking, okay, let's party. These are where all these competitors are going to go. I get dressed up and go up there, and I'm telling you, there was like nobody in there. And I was like, this is a bummer, because like nowhere's going to be open. And I look over and I see all the judges, every single judge was sitting at a table together. So I'm like, I'm going up. I don't even care. So I went right up to the table, and I just kind of introduced myself, and I recognized Andy Bartolovich because he's from this area.
Yep.
And so I kind of just introduced myself, and he judged the Think Pink show, but he didn't remember me. I mean, my looks were just so different. I didn't expect him to.
Mm-hmm.
So I just introduced myself, and they just kind of reiterated to me at that moment. They were like, wellness, keep with it, stick with it, grow with it. You have growing to do. Like, we know that. I know that. I knew that. But keep with it and stick with this and go from there. And that kind of just, I was already thinking that, and that just reiterated it. And then I also emailed them after to ask for more feedback, because that's just how I am.
Hey,
So yeah,
I love that.
and then yeah,
You should be all about wanting that feedback and everything. And I'm sure for the most part, they're probably just going to tell you to keep doing what you're doing and put on some size, right?
Yep, that's basically all they said. They said for the Julie Palmer show, because I told them, I said, I'm thinking about, because every single judge at that table that did the Julie Palmer was also doing the Ohio State show. So I was like, so I'm thinking about doing this Ohio State show. Like, I mentioned that there, and they were all like, yeah, totally do it. It's a great show. We'll be there. And I said, what do you think I should grow on? But I have 6 weeks. I said, what do you think I should focus on the next 6 weeks? Because I'll do whatever. Like, so I basically focused on just pounding the heck out of my legs and just trying to just get a little bit more size. I mean, I know I was in a deficit, so like the chances of me really putting on much was a little slim, but I just worked my ass off. And they said to come in a tad leaner. So I did that, came in leaner, did everything they said, and then ended up winning that show. So I'm really happy that I did kind of just bother the heck out of them, because I mean, that's what they're there for. I mean, take advantage of it, especially, I mean, they were all super nice. It wasn't like I was interrupting their dinner. Like, they were just kind of talking. So I didn't care.
No, you're the one. As a competitor, you're the one on the stage. You're, the reason why they're even there working and stuff. So I'm sure that they are just would love to help you out, and you're asking the right questions, because, it seems to me like you're a little bit of an extrovert, and that's great, because that's kind of like, they want people to care, and they want people to really show interest. Like, they want to help. So like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great feedback and everything. So, what kind of training, like you said, you were working your ass off in those 6 weeks, but is there anything that, like, did you find anything that just made like a huge difference in that short amount of time for you?
Honestly, the biggest thing was like my lifting. As far as my lifting didn't change too much. I did get a gym back. That definitely helped. I mean, the fact that most of my prep for the Julie Palmer show was done in my backyard or in like this random gym down the street, like a home gym. So I had very, very limited things, just a few weights, resistance bands, and my only form of cardio was running. So let's keep that in mind, because I had no way of doing any other cardio. Like, I actually bought a bike at one point off of someone on Facebook Marketplace, and it didn't give me enough cardio. Like, I wasn't losing enough doing the bike, just like riding through the streets of my hometown. So I was like, this is not going to work. So I had to run in order to lean out. So I lost a ton of size on my legs already. Like, you're already going to lose size because you're going to lose your fat, but like, I lost muscle size from having to run constantly, run enough to get lean, and then also not being able to have those strong weights to really push yourself after that. So honestly, the biggest difference was that those 6 weeks I had my gym back. I was able to only do stair stepper for cardio instead, or like resistance bike, and or like incline walking, depending on, it's kind of just dependent on the day and how much energy I had. Like, and that was honestly the biggest difference. Like, as far as my strength training, I was able to do my like normal things again. And that was about it. Like, like I said, my training didn't change too much. I just got my gym back. So I got my training back.
I was going to say,
to be able to lift heavy.
You were training at the Planet Fitness and everything. I saw when you got that back, and you were back to doing some videos, and even gotten a few days in training with Brady at I think that was like the Iron Forge gym, I think, or somewhere over there.
I do. So the Iron Factory is like my home gym in Washington, PA. So that's usually always where I go. Planet is something I keep my Planet membership, one, because tanning, and two, for fasted cardio. I don't have a cardio machine at my house. So I have like I said, I live in Wheeling. So there's Planet Fitnesses around me that I'll just go to like in the morning if I need to get my cardio in, instead of driving all the way to Washington.
Yeah.
And then I get my lift in either before or after work because I work in Washington. So like I don't go there. If I'm off of work, I don't drive all the way to Washington just for a lift.
Mm-hmm.
So usually I'll get my work in, like my lift in and Planet, unless it's a leg day, then I'll usually not go to Planet. But like you can get a good lift in anywhere. You know, I mean, it's all mental.
I say the same thing, man. I do the same thing. I love, like, no hate to Planet, but like Planet's just so good for the convenience, and like you can go anywhere. Like if you're traveling in another state, there's probably a Planet. And I like the tan. I like it for cardio. I definitely won't go there for leg day. I go to my other hardcore gym. So I'm right there with you. Right. And if you even if I have to do legs, which I've had to do before, like it's literally like you just work with what you got, and as long as you know.
It's a mindset thing. If I had to choose after having a gym, like I used to be, and I'll be the first one to call myself out, like I used to be that person that I was like, I'm never going to Planet. I'm not doing it. That's for, you know, those are for beginners. I'm not a beginner. And like they serve pizza and bagels. Like I'm not ever going there. Like they're shoving it down my throat or something. Like, no, I mean, I mean, whatever. I don't know. But after not having a gym, like, I would definitely rather take Planet than nothing. I mean, come on. I don't know. It's just, it's all mindset. I mean, yeah, I wish that they had free weights, and I wish that it wasn't only Smith machine. But if that's all you got working with, I would take that over resistance band training in my basement any day. So I'm done. I'm not complaining anymore. Reality check. COVID gave me such a reality check.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And some of those machines too, even if you hit the max, just slow it down. You know, you make things harder by just kind of really slowing stuff down. And I've tried to tell people that even when they're trying to like really go crazy with weight, I'm like, sometimes you don't have to just keep stacking on the weight. Like, why don't you just like slow down and really make that muscle like struggle, which I feel like works really good even for legs, you know, just kind of use some volume and pump them out.
I'm under tension. That's the key. Most of the time for me, like I really don't. I get people ask me a lot what my maxes are, and I'm like, I don't max. Like what? I have absolutely no reason to do a 1 rep max. Not one reason.
No.
I don't. It's all your look. It's your look. Like, yeah, I want to be strong. I want to be just as strong as the next person, but it's how you look. And this is a physique show. Like they're looking at your body. You're not putting your 1 rep maxes on the piece of paper. They don't care.
No. They don't even care about your weight. You know what I mean? Like when you're on stage, like it's not about the scale. It's not about like the weight, you know, and it's not about like your PRs either, like you said. Like it's just like you're building with clay, and you're in the gym and you're sculpting. Like it's simple, right?
Yeah. And my coach, anytime I've ever had to go to Planet that I wasn't expecting to go to Planet or something, I'll just send her a text and be like, hey, I'm going to have to change my training up just a little bit. And like, I've done this for long enough to know, like, I know what to replace things with, or if I need to do some extra reps because it just doesn't feel heavy enough and I cannot go any heavier. And like, I just write all that down and send it to her, and she's completely understanding. She gets it. Like, she's a mom. She gets it. She gets in what she can when she can. So like, I have no excuse. I can get it done. Yes. No excuses.
So you were talking about your coach just now, and since you have a new coach, obviously you guys have a good relationship now. Like, has that, I know that at the beginning we talked about, you know, not having the best coach, but do you feel like this coach now, like it finally clicks? Like, are you happy? Like, what's your experience with that?
I absolutely love her. She's like stage mom mixed with best friend mixed with, I mean, she's amazing. And funny enough, like the way we met is because I had this teammate that I knew from like back in the day, and we ended up sharing a room for the Think Pink show, like in 2019. And Catherine was her, like helping her. Like, I don't think she was technically not her coach, I don't think, but she was helping her with like, just like something, kind of being a stage mom, like what she does. And she was there with us. So it was all three of us in a room. And Catherine just like, well, I call her Catherine. Everyone else calls her Katie. I don't know. But that's just what I call her. She was in the room with us, and she saw the struggle. Like, she saw how much I was struggling. Like, she was kind of like, without overstepping, she would ask me like little questions, and I would realize, like, I don't know the answer to these questions. Like, what is she asking me right now? Like, it was just so much stuff. And she actually did help me a lot. I wasn't paying her. I didn't even know her. She didn't know me. Like, she just helped me. She stepped out of, because that's just who she is. Like, she stepped out of what she was doing. She was there with another competitor, and it wasn't my division or anything. But she was helping me and trying to like calm me down because I was freaking because I didn't have a coach there. So like to have her kind of after that day, I was like, this girl is amazing. Like if I ever do decide to compete again, I knew after that day that she would be the one I contacted first. So after that show, I took like maybe a month to kind of like reevaluate my goals, reevaluate what I wanted to do, take a break or whatever. And then after that, I contacted her right away and we started an off season right away to try to just, so she could get used to like my eating styles and what I like. And I have Crohn's disease too. So just getting used to like my digestive system and how things work with me. So we started right away. And then after a few months or something, we started in prep for the Julie Palmer show. So yeah, it was awesome. She's awesome.
And you mentioned about Crohn's. That's interesting. I actually know a few competitors with that, and they do struggle finding foods. Like, I don't know if you feel this way, but they always have a hard time putting on weight because like it's hard to build muscle. Do you have that?
Okay. It's weird. So I am diagnosed with Crohn's, but personally, I think there's other things going on. I haven't been like formally diagnosed, but I mean, I have with Crohn's, but nothing else. But with Crohn's, I'm kind of the opposite. Like, okay, I don't want to say opposite, but a lot of people with Crohn's, like they'll eat and then they'll run to the restroom. That's kind of what people think when they think of Crohn's. Right. I'm kind of the opposite, which makes competing not the easiest thing, like digestively, because you're already in a deficit. Like you're already not going to go to the bathroom as much, or you may get binded up really easily. Like that going to the bathroom on peak week, like it's so important. So, I mean, it's so hard. So that kind of made my issues a little bit worse because I already have a hard time doing that. So like just getting my supplementation right and making sure I'm getting enough, like all the different vitamins in and probiotics and all these different things. So I'm kind of the opposite in that way. But as far as like gaining weight, I've never had a problem gaining weight. Okay. But as far as like most of the thing that is the hardest thing with my Crohn's is stress level. So if I get too stressed or I get too worked up or anything in that nature, I'm in the hospital. Like there's just that's it. So my last hospitalization was during my Julie Palmer prep. I was in the hospital, but I have not, knock on wood, I don't have any wood here, tree. I haven't been in the hospital since then, but that was my last hospitalization. I just get really bad flare-ups and it's just utter debilitating pain. So that's kind of how that affects me. But as far as like the gaining weight, losing weight, I feel like I'm pretty average in that aspect. It doesn't affect me that way. That's why I think it could be something else going on, but I have it very much kind of under control right now. At least I think I do. So I don't know. We're just kind of going with the flow.
And that's good. So then how's your off season going? Because now that, you won the wellness and now that you know that there's potential, I'm sure that lit your fire to like really push hard this off season. So how's it been going since October?
Yeah. It was the end of September, I think. I don't know. I was in prep for a long time. So after that show, I kind of I did what a lot of competitors do. I just like completely binged after that. And for that week after, I just kind of ate whatever I wanted, kind of did whatever I want. Took a few days off from the gym. And then honestly, naturally, I just really wanted to get back into the gym. I wanted to feel it because I was like, this is the perfect time for gains. Like, I was like, I have all this caloric surplus, like, let's just go. So I just kind of went straight full force into it after a few days. I wasn't forcing anything. After being in prep so long, I was like, mentally, I needed this break. But after like 3 days, I was like, okay, I'm good. Like, I didn't really need much more off the gym. For diet, we did like intuitive eating for like, I think a week or two after to kind of let me figure out what I wanted and stuff. And then after that, we went back to macro training. And then I've just kind of had higher macro sense and kind of teaching myself how to best feed myself. And like, I know a lot of people do the bro diet, and I tried the bro diet, but with my Crohn's, macro training for me personally works better with my Crohn's because I can constantly change up what I'm eating. If something's not working, it's not like this big whole thing. Like if something's not working, I can just change it. It's not a big deal. I can swap it out with something else. It's constantly different. Like that chicken, rice, vegetables, or like I can't do rice at all during prep. It's just, it's so, with my stomach, it's very like back and forth depending on the day. So I have to constantly be changing things up, which is fine. I keep it mostly clean, but like 80-20 most of the time in off season. And on season, like when I'm in prep, obviously it's a lot more strict, but as far as right now, I try to do like the 80-20 model, but I also have pretty high carbs, so I'm able to do that.
Yeah.
But I don't even remember what the question was. I'm rambling.
Well, it's just off season in general, but that's good because I wanted to kind of also ask, like, what foods do work for you as like with someone, because I know some people struggle with trying to find those certain foods and they have to toggle. And I know that it's different for everybody. And you just said that rice won't work for you for prep. So like, what are
For
your
prep, it won't.
carbs?
For in prep, my go-to carbs, honestly, I did a little bit of fruits, not much. Usually just like when I did oatmeal, I would throw some fruit in there for those extra carbs. Most of the time it was green beans. I mean, that was like the only vegetable I really could get in was green beans, to be like, that will also kind of fill out my carbs, and it could be filling, could actually be filling. Riced cauliflower actually did, instead of rice, I did riced cauliflower. And plus volume. I mean,
Oh yeah,
who doesn't like some volume during prep? Like,
for sure.
I would be able to eat a lot. So I did that. Like salad stuff actually didn't bother me, but that was kind of it as far as the vegetables go. I like broccoli and like Brussels sprouts would kind of just bloat me, and any dairy, I had to cut out dairy completely during prep because it just like was so noticeably bloating me. So I just kind of had to cut that off pretty early on. But as far as off season, I haven't had any issues so far with pretty much anything I've been eating. A little bit of dairy here and there. Like I said, I have on days and off days. So sometimes dairy will bloat me, sometimes it won't. Like it's so back and forth. So I try not to do a lot. Usually the only dairy I do is like fat-free cheese.
Okay.
Yeah, usually that's kind of it. Or like low-fat cheese, but that's kind of the only dairy I really get in anyway. But I don't know.
What's your protein?
It.
Do you what are your proteins, like your go-to proteins?
Honestly, I really like tuna. So
I was gonna say
I'm like a
great
tuna
for
freak.
digestion.
Yes, I'm a tuna freak. I love, like, I either do like the frozen fillets, or I'll just do like the tuna packets. Honestly, like I'm on the go most of the time, and this is no excuse. Like you can get in your food when you're on the go. I'm not trying to say I'm busier than other people, but as an athletic trainer, I got like 20 minutes maybe to eat, like in between sports or whatever, in between practices, or I'm eating during practice, just on the sidelines or something. So I try not to bring stuff to work that has to be heated. So I'll either do like cold turkey, like the slices, or cold chicken. And I mean, during prep, I will meal prep, but like now in off season, I kind of just do whatever's convenient. Like I have the macros to do it, I'm doing it. So I'll literally do like a sandwich, or I'll bring stuff that doesn't need reheated, and I can just sit there and eat on the sidelines, that I don't have to sit there and like really, I could easily put it down if someone like gets hurt, like something that's super easy. So the tuna packets, like the Star-Kissed ones, love them. And they're filled with protein. I'm like, what's wrong with that? And they're like, they're so macro friendly.
For sure. And you like, that's the type of stuff that people need to learn how to do. Like there's stuff that you can eat cold, or that you can handle cold. And I mean, during the shutdown and everything, I'm sure you prepping, was that a good time for prep? Because I know that you were telling me like work was kind of like up in the air.
So it was a big give and take. Like as far as my time, it was a great time for prep because I was out of work. So like, but I was still getting paid. I was working from home, but my hours were super limited. So I still did get paid. But like, as far as being able to dedicate time to prep, I had all the time in the world. Couldn't go to a gym, but I had all the time in the world to like dedicate towards like prepping and like doing whatever. But on the opposite side, like the food shortage, it was really hard. There was no such thing as chicken. Like you could not, at any of my Walmarts, Kroger's, whatever, you couldn't get chicken. You couldn't get like ground beef, nothing. So I did a lot of like canned chicken, or tuna. Like, but I mean, honestly, that stuff didn't really bother me because I eat like that anyway. It wasn't like a huge, I just had to make some modifications, and it was definitely, we made it work, obviously. And my coach was super understanding about it. We did what we had to do. And my body, thank God, actually tolerated it pretty well. So it was definitely some give and takes. Like on one hand, like being in the shutdown did help, with like being able to dedicate a lot of time to it, but I didn't have a gym to do it. I had to run outside, and then also the food shortage and not having a gym. So definitely some give and takes there.
Definitely. And I feel like as long as diet is on point, I feel like preps can go a little good, because to be honest, like at that point, like you should have like had the off season for the muscle if you did it right. But you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, with the shutdown and what was going on, like I think everybody struggled with food, but like I was typically able to find most seafood, which I like seafood, but I know
frozen
that
seafood, usually nothing fresh. Fresh stuff was usually gone, but frozen seafood. I did like a lot of shrimp. Shrimp was like a big thing that I could find. I did a lot of shrimp.
I agree.
It's packed with protein. I was like really surprised. I hadn't done prep, or I hadn't done shrimp a lot before that time. And I like cooked it one time, and I was like, wow, I can eat like a lot of shrimp, and this is like loaded with protein, and there's like no fat or carbs in it. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I ate a shit ton of it.
Seafood's fantastic. And I know like stuff like that, I don't even mind like eating it cold once it's like after it's cooked. Because you know, we were talking about like eating on the go. Like I don't mind cold fish, because to me it's just like, I mean, depending on what you use to flavor it, if you put some seasoning, but it tastes good cold to me. Like I kind of prefer it.
I've done a lot of things cold at this point just because I've had to. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, if you don't have a microwave, that's just the end. I mean, you just have to eat it cold. It's not really a big deal. But I have like a little microwave that keeps my office, but I'm not always at the office. I'm like on the field or doing whatever. So I just kind of have to do what you got to do. I mean, cold chicken's not that bad. I mean, if you season it correctly and you're doing what you got to do, and it's not like old and dry, then I mean, it's not horrible. You got to, I mean,
it's like a deli sandwich. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, don't be a baby. It's fine. You'll be fine. Just eat it.
You just got to get used to having a bag full of like cooler packs and Tupperware, and it's like I mean, that are plastic bags. I don't know. I feel you though. I'm always on the go. Look at you. You're on the go, like walking. You got your coffee.
I was trying to be productive. Listen, I'll literally stay in bed all morning if I'm up so late at night, because I currently live above a bar. So I don't sleep because the music plays until 3 a.m, especially on a Thursday night, because it was Thirsty Thursday last night. And everyone in Wheeling, West Virginia was partying last night, apparently. So I just heard noise and music all night. So I did client programming actually on the computer, like until like 3 a.m, because I was like wide awake. So try to be productive. Like, and then
I'm good for noon, girl. Like I got it all.
I'll sleep. I will sleep all morning because I'm up so late. So I usually don't even set an alarm, because I don't work until the afternoons because of sports. I don't have to be there until they're out of school. So I usually don't get to work until like 2:15, 3 o'clock most days, depending on what sports are going on. So I sleep as late as I want to. I don't set an alarm. And I literally had to set an alarm just to get up and get ready to be on the Zoom call today. And then I was like, force myself to be productive and walk around. You're welcome.
Now, did you train today, or are you?
I did not train yet today, so I'm getting my steps in. Just so I don't have to worry about doing that before I lift also, because most of the time at work, like depending on the day, I could be super stagnant at work, or I could be walking around a lot. So it kind of just depends. So I try to just get the steps in when I can, or I'm stuck doing it before or after my workout, like on the treadmill. So I try not to deal with that. So I would definitely rather be out here doing this.
Yeah.
And plus the time goes faster when you're like on Zoom or on FaceTime or something. The time goes so much faster. So I was like, it's a perfect opportunity. I'm going to lift after work today though, tonight.
Now, I had a question. Where did it go? It went in my head. And then,
how I am.
Well, you know what I did want to ask about, you know, what's the future in competing? Like, I know that you're actually getting ready to move soon, right? To Pittsburgh, or at least Pennsylvania. Okay.
Yeah. I'm in Wheeling.
Okay.
I'm in Wheeling right now. I grew up in Ohio. I live in West Virginia, and I work in PA. So like I'm in this tri-state area. So like you can go 10 minutes in any direction and you're in a different state. So I did decide that me and my boyfriend are going to move in together in like New Stanton. So it's like 30 minutes from Pittsburgh, or maybe a little.
I know where that's at. Yep.
Yeah. So that's where we're going to move. Possibly look for another gym towards there. I'm not sure. I'd like to have a home gym closer to home, like that I can get all my lifting in, but I don't know of any like bodybuilding gyms in like the Greensburg Irwin area. So I'm going to like continue to look around.
I'll send you
if that
some.
becomes,
That's where I
for
live.
sure.
I live in that area, so I'll send you some.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. I heard of like Atlas or
Atlas.
something. I don't know. I looked it up, but it kind of looks like a CrossFit gym. So I would have to like check it out and make sure they have things I need in there. So I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like my plans this year, so I'm moving in April.
Okay.
I am starting prep. I tried to talk Catherine into letting me not start prep until after my birthday, but I failed. So we are starting prep. We're starting prep next month, so like middle of March. But my birthday and Easter are on the same weekend. So like my birthday is the 5th and Easter's the 4th. Okay. So I was like, listen, here, let's compromise. Let me just enjoy Easter and my birthday. Just 2 days. Give me 2 days. Yep. I said I'll start prep early just so I can have those 2 days of just like enjoying my time, because like that's it. Because I like mentally we were aiming for a different show at first. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't have started prep until mid-April instead. Mm-hmm. But then like literally last week she was like, I think the show would be better. And I was like, okay, fine. So it's in Columbus and we were originally aiming for one that was in PA. Mm-hmm. And she was like, well, let's do Columbus. And Columbus is better for both of us because I'm not either way. I'd have to get a hotel like being in PA because I don't live there yet and the show's not close enough to where I live. So if I go to Columbus, she lives there. We don't have to pay for a hotel. So like I can just stay with my coach. We can do hair and makeup and everything at her house. So it's just a lot more convenient. So we are doing that. It is the Mike Francois show. It's in July. That's the show we're aiming for. I mean, this is obviously it's all tentative. I haven't registered or anything, but we're just gonna kind of start cutting next month and very slowly kind of get into it and see how my muscle, like I feel like I put on a decent amount of muscle this off season. So I'm just gonna kind of see how things start like sculpting out, and we'll make decisions from there. And then I would really like to do North Americans, depending on how the Mike Francois show goes. So we will see. I'm not going to force anything, but I would really like to do it. But we'll just see if I'm ready, whatever coach says.
No, I think
I'll prep goggles. So.
Well, yeah. I think you'll do great for North Americans, because I was going to ask that if you were thinking about making it, because I know you'll make it nationally qualified for sure. So I think like obviously North Americans is very prestigious, but I think that it'll be a great show to do for sure.
Yeah, I mean, because I won the Ohio State show last year, I actually could do the Arnold, and they would pay for it. Mm-hmm. But I don't feel ready mentally to do a show like the Arnold just yet. Mm-hmm. I know my registration would be covered, and I know that's probably seems stupid to a lot of people to not go for it, but I just don't. I would have to choose between Arnold or North Americans because they're really close. I'm pretty sure with the Arnold date moved. Yep. So like I just don't think I could do both. And I think for my first time out, I know the judges that are going to be North Americans. I just feel like it would be a lot more, and it's also not an international show. Like, I mean, with the wellness category, you have to keep in mind these girls from another country, like these girls have been doing wellness for a lot longer than a lot of these American girls have been doing wellness, because it's been a thing for a lot longer of a time. So they're just super developed. And I mean, there's so many girls in America that are super developed. So I mean, either way, I know I have a long way to go, but I just think for my first time going out there, I would rather go against girls that are more on like my playing field of doing this for the last year or two than people that have been growing with this division for years and years, and eventually I do want to get to that level of doing that. I just don't think mentally it would be a good move for me right away. Not that I feel like I would give up or anything, but I just feel like you have to make those types of decisions for like your mentality. And me and coach talked it through a lot. Like I went back and forth so much about talking about it and just going back and forth. And I work the Arnold every year. And I was like, for me, it's just it's a fun thing to do. And I was like, and one day I do want to be on the Arnold stage, but for right now, like I want it to be that fun thing that I can go and it's just a time to relax and have fun with my friends. I mean, even if I'm on prep, like I wouldn't be competing there. So I do want to get there one day, but for now, I think I'm going to stick with watching.
And I agree, because if it's a show that's very close to your heart like that and you don't feel ready, then like that opportunity will come and it will happen when you're ready. So it's good that you think that way, because you're not trying to rush stuff. And I think this sport, a lot of people will rush, and there's no need to rush. The stage will be there. The Arnold obviously got postponed, but the Arnold will happen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, it will. And I've only been doing this since 2019. I mean, I've only been growing really since after that. So in 2020. So I've really only been doing it a little over a year. And I know I have a lot of room to grow. I know I have a lot of time. I'm not trying to rush things, spend a whole bunch of money to get on a stage. I mean, the registration is fee, but let's add all the other expenses that come with competing.
Yep.
It's not free. Like, a lot of people don't understand that. So it's just, I'm not going to spend all that money and time to do something I mentally don't feel like I'm prepared for. And like you said, it's such a prestigious stage, and I want the time that I do get on that stage, I want to be 1000% confident that I'll do well and that I will have a great time doing it, not like freaking out thinking I'm underprepared, even though you'll never probably 100% feel prepared. But, just, I don't know, I want it to be something special because it's been such a close show into my heart. Like, I've been there so many times. So I just want it to be that when that time does come, and it'll come one day.
Yes. And I think getting on the national level stage will definitely really put in perspective where you place, because I mean, national shows, you're going up against all the other first place or second place winners and stuff. So like, it's a huge factor. And you are, with wellness, you're correct with the international girls, because you don't know who's going to fly in. Like,
no. And I mean, like I said, I want to compete against the best of the best. I want to be able to hold my own and compete to that level, but I don't think I'm there yet. And I think that's totally fine to admit. Like, I'm working on it, but I'm not going to act like I'm ready for that level when I 100% know I'm not. And my coach would agree with me. She definitely would never put me on a stage that she doesn't think I would do well at, or just if I'm not ready for that level, she'll tell me straight up. She's not a coach that's money hungry that just wants to collect my money while she's helping me prep. Like, she's not going to put me on a stage unless, I mean, it's her name that's behind me. I know I'm putting in the work, but like, we're a team. So like, she would never put me on a stage and have her name backing me if she doesn't 100,000% think I'm ready for it.
Yeah, she's probably thinking about your health and just, how you look overall. And like we just said, don't have to rush. I'm sure she would agree also. Just take it day by day. And, you still got like a month before you start prep. So I'm sure you're going to get yourself in a good mindset, which will be huge, because, if you want to do these shows, you're going to do your small show and a big show. As long as you're like mentally ready, which I'm sure you are, you'll have a successful prep.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm definitely excited to start prep. Off season, I feel like for everyone is kind of uncomfortable sometimes. So to kind of get back to that lean stage, ready, I don't know. I miss it. I miss it so much.
I'm sure you do, because I'm like almost at my show, and I'm just now being like, oh, like I like don't even like, I look at my off-season pictures and I'm just like, I looked like that and I didn't care.
Like who is that? Like, but I'm like that now, but I'm like that with my stage. Like, who is that skinny bitch that are in these pictures? Like, I'm looking back and I'm like, I don't remember. At the time, I was not that small. Like, I'm like, why mentally? Like, it's so crazy how much your head messes with you, because at the time, I still thought I had so much more to lose. And I'm looking back now and I'm like, I was like 5% body fat. Like, what more did you have to lose, Gabby? Like, you had nothing left. You were bones and muscle. Like, what were you? So it's so crazy to look back, because at the time you never think you're ready. And then I'm looking back now being like thicker and a sticker now. And I'm like, looking back, I'm like, what the world? What was I? I don't even recognize her. I don't recognize that girl.
Well, it's like a process, like you're going to gain weight, you're going to lose weight. Like, we're working on body you know what I mean? Like, we're really trying to morph our bodies. So there's going to be all kinds of looks. And then obviously the older you get, there's different things that happen, so the body's just so complex.
It's crazy. I'm so new at this still that I'm trying to take my time and just absorb. I'm trying to be a sponge and just absorb. There's so much I don't know. And I mean, I went to school for athletic training, but like, there's so much I don't know about the body and about the health and about competing. Like, I'm just trying to absorb and learn as much as I can, which was which is what's so great about Katie, because like she doesn't just tell me what to do, like she explains it. She takes the time to explain why we're doing things, and just I'm learning from her. So I take all the information she gives me and try to just to make the most out of it. So I don't know, I'm taking my time because I really want this to stick. I want this is something I love to do. So I want this to be something I can do long term, and for that you have to have knowledge in it. You can't just go blindly through it and just only listen to your coach. Like you have to have some knowledge of what you're doing. I just personally, that's what I feel like.
Yeah, no.
And I feel like in order to be 100% invested, you have to know what you're doing.
Right. And I think that that's going to give a lot of anyone that wants to get into competing a good perspective getting into the sport. Everything that we've talked about in this podcast, I feel like you definitely have like the perspective of you're going to make mistakes, but you know, you learn as you go, and then things get better as long as you're consistent and you keep like the fire inside lit. So is there anything else that you would give like a first time competitor, especially in wellness?
I don't know. I've had a lot of people message me about wellness, and they'll basically just be like, hey, do you think I'm ready for wellness? And those kind of questions, which I'm no judge. Like I don't know. And plus when I'm looking at someone on their normal Instagram page is so much different than they'll actually look on stage. So like, it's so hard to give that kind of advice. But honestly, my biggest advice was, try different divisions. Like that was my thing. Like you're never going to be, unless you try different things, I feel like you're never going to be 100% certain. And so many bodies are so different. And I just feel like you may really like the show wellness, but sometimes your body just naturally doesn't want to go that way. And sometimes you can't work against your body. In this competition, like in this world, you can't go against your genetic makeup. You need to take what you were given and just grow from that. And I feel like, I know you may like the look of a different division, but sometimes you just have to you can't go against that. Sometimes you just have to follow what your body's giving you and go in that direction instead of trying to fight it and go into and mold yourself into a different division. Like me with bikini, like that went well, but like, I have no regrets, like to get the judges' feedback, just to do it, like just to get out there, get comfortable and get the judges' feedback. Like even had I known there was a wellness division, maybe I still would have done bikini just to get judges' feedback. And that's what I've said to a few people. Like I've told them like, hey, try bikini, try it, or do a crossover, do bikini and wellness. You can wear the same bikini for it. Like if you have to, they'll let you. So like, at least last year they did.
Yeah.
But like do a crossover and just get the judges' feedback. Do everything you can. You're already prepping for the show. Like do what you can and get your name out there, get your face out there in front of those judges, and just email them and bother the heck out of them for feedback, and then go from there. Like in my opinion, this isn't like a one and done thing. Like for a lot of people, like after it, you kind of just felt like fall in love with it. So try your best, do your first one, and just do as much as you can for that first show and get that feedback and go from there. Because the judges, they've done this for so long, they can see what your body's like capable of, maybe more than you can.
Yeah.
Just like from them looking at you from like that objective view. So I would just say, like, my biggest advice is just get out there and try it. Do a crossover, do what you can. I know a lot of times people like go against crossing over, but I see no problem with it, especially when you're a first time or second time competitor like I was, just not knowing exactly where you fit in. Then just get that judge's feedback. That's really what they're there for. And like, I mean, I know it's more money. Sometimes it's not possible to do that. And I get that. But I mean, that's kind of what you have coaches for too.
Exactly.
To help you decide that.
Yes. Yeah. Have your coach like tell you where to go. They should know. And you go off of the both of you. You, like you said, you're a team. Like we all want to succeed here. So listen to your coach.
And find a coach that has people backing them. Find a coach that has experience. Yep. Don't take the cheap way out.
Yep. I always say you always pay for what you get.
Yep, you definitely do. Find someone that can show you their resume. Find someone that has like other clients, like, you know, someone who's professional. And I don't know, it's just so important. It's so important that you mesh well with your coach, because if you're constantly fighting against your coach and you're disagreeing or you're questioning them, like you can't like, I mean, yeah, you can question them. I'm not saying you can't question them, like ask questions for sure. But if you don't trust them, that they have your best interest in like health and mind, then I don't see that going very far.
Right.
As far as like, you should trust them.
For sure. Definitely. You got to put all the trust, and this is your body and your health. So make sure like you're investing in every aspect, coach, food, finding what works for you. Make sure that you have the longevity in the sport, you know, that way you can continue to compete and make improvements when you need to. So
yeah, there's really no shortcuts. Trust me, I've tried.
exactly.
Can do it.
I think we've all tried. We're all just trying to like see what we can get away with, and it's like, no.
Yep. Or posing, waiting until like the week before to start posing. Yeah, don't do that. Don't recommend that.
How are you getting help with posing? Do you do that on your own? Where are you getting posing at?
Actually, so for my first show ever, like my bikini show, I didn't do posing. I literally just went on stage and kind of did whatever. But yeah, don't recommend that. But for the Julie Palmer and the Ohio State show, I actually, Billy Sabilla, I don't know if you know who that is, but I'm sure you're from the area. So, he goes to Iron Factory in the mornings and like AmeriFit and everything. So he's worked with me a few times. Like we met up and like he showed me a few different things last year. And I honestly, 80% of it was me watching videos and just like watching the Arnold from last year, because that was like the first thing. So I watched the Arnold a million times. I watched the posing on there, and I just practice. And then I would practice on my own, and then I would get in front of Billy and be like, this is kind of what I came up with. And then he'll be like, yeah, that's perfect. Like basically, I did most of it on my own and just kind of practiced in the mirror, constantly practice on recordings, practice different things. And then he would kind of just give me like little things here and there. And he helped me with the figure, obviously, too, posing. But yeah, that was pretty much it. And then now I kind of help other people, just like first timers. I try to like pass it on. I mean, I don't know everything, but I'm definitely, I don't know, I'm something. I'm better than.
It's a new division. So a lot of girls are confused. And like, since you started in bikini, like bikini, I'm sure helped a little bit. I mean, like, some of the poses are definitely not the same at all, but at least the back poses. So yeah, it works.
Yeah, it's really not. I mean, the basic poses aren't super crazy different. Like it's not like something completely different, like between figure and bikini. It's definitely more similar than that. But just the biggest difference is that instead of just front and back, you actually have quarter turns now, whereas before there was no quarter turn. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's really fun. I think the posing is really fun because everyone's so different, and it's like fun to realize what works for someone else like might not at all work for you. You just have to, and you can change it. Like it's not like a set in stone thing.
Well, I appreciate you coming on so much because I feel like we mesh really well. I can really like talk to you. You're bubbly, and that's a lot of fun. That's the Aries in you, I'm sure.
Thank you.
And I think this will help a lot of new competitors. So this was a perfect time, since I know a lot of people that want to compete in the fall and stuff. So this will be a good video to put out. So I appreciate your time, and I'll be posting this tomorrow.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me. I'm going to eat some more and get ready for work.
All right. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Bye.
Bye.